Hello and welcome to the Incursion Podcast, Episode 9. I am the ghost formerly known as Von Hyde, and as always, I am joined by Josh, and once again, we've got Errol on the podcast.
Hello.
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 He's very happy to be here.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why I found it so funny the way you said that. It was just normal, but...
So excited.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a bunch of indie games today, and we're also going to talk about some amazing, just the economy of video games, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. The video game industry is freaking weird. I'm excited to see what happens. Yeah, but you know what? I'm more excited to see what you guys have been playing this week. So let's start off with Josh. What have you been playing this week? Something amazing?
Something amazing. So I've been playing two things. The first one, right before this podcast, I actually got to check it out. So there is a game, the demo just dropped, and it is, what is it called? She Dreams Elsewhere, I believe it was called. Yeah. So I got to try it out right before the podcast. It's about like 45 minutes or so of gameplay, but it's kind of interesting. So the way it works is you're basically this woman who it seems like in her teenage kind of years, or after teenage, so to speak. So, after high school, kind of in like your college days. And so she lives in this one apartment, and she kind of seems like this person who's always slacking and doesn't really do much. She's kind of, not into social aspects. And so she gets dragged into this one party. And she goes there, and there's a lot of this like antisocial and suicidal tendencies that you're seeing, and it's basically her talking to herself, but it's like this dark kind of image, and it kind of reminds me of the way that Celeste had their evil person inside the game speaking to her, saying, hey, you should stop doing this, you should stop being in the party, you should go home, you should just end up, and it like kind of cuts itself but alludes to saying kill yourself. So it seems like it's going to go into a very dark path, which is very interesting, and the actual gameplay of it is more of a JRPG. So you end up getting stuck in this weird dream world somehow, and it's not explained very well, obviously, since this is just a demo and kind of a teaser, but it has a lot of ties into this just weird, strange environment where she's stuck in, and she's like, I'm dreaming, but you're not really too sure because her friends show up in it. So there's a lot of just kind of interesting elements to it that I definitely would like to see go further as this develops, to know what this really is all about. But it does have a lot of elements that I do enjoy, such as from a actual RPG mechanic, the element of fighting. The way they use battles is not just the standard, just attack, block, whatever. They have the same turn-based combat that you would get in a game, but it also adds the element that Octopath Traveler had. So whenever you use a certain skill that an enemy is weak to, if you use it a certain amount of times, you'll basically break them, and that will cause them to be stunned for a turn. So it adds that element of strategy in there of trying to block out their turn so that you take less damage. So it should be interesting as we go further on to see what this comes into. Really fun from just the demo, so to speak. And then the other game I've been playing is For the King, which we talked about a little bit before on an earlier episode. And man, they are like cranking out content, because just a few episodes ago we talked about them having a new adventure mode. Well, now there's another one that came out that I was trying, and it's basically you're on ships and you're fighting like the Sea King and the Kraken, and they added guns into the game, which is like this new element of combat where you basically, it's a really strong weapon, but you have to reload each turn. So it's like you get a really strong attack, but then can't really do anything. So it's just adding new elements to it, new gameplay, new content, and it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, you like briefly spoke about Celeste. I really enjoy everybody like bringing emotional aspects into games and really like I don't know, just kind of talking about their emotions in general, especially through the medium of games. But speaking about Celeste, that's actually it being like nominated for Game of the Year. I was like, shit, I have to play this game,
Yep.
and I have it, and I was trying to go through it before. Like initially, I bought it right when the game came out, so it was like 6-8 months ago. I bought it, and I really wanted to play it, but I was trying to get all of the strawberries and everything. And honestly, I'm not a completionist, but for some reason I was like, I'm going to do this. I ended up making the game so much harder for myself, which I find hilarious because literally like in between, basically on their loading screens, you get little postcards, and it's basically just a note from the developer being like, hey, you can do this or you can't do that, kind of a thing. It's basically just a tip section like most games give you. But one of them was like, the strawberries are just for added difficulty.
Yeah.
You do not have to collect them. I just saw that. I was like, God damn it. I knew I didn't have to collect them before, and I also really wanted to play with an arcade fight stick for some reason because I felt like D-pads don't give you the range of motion that I really want. Like, diagonals are really annoying on D-pads. I really hate it. But yeah, I hop back into Celeste, and I've been kind of shooting through it, and man, it is such a good game. However much I love God of War and really am impressed and really enjoy Red Dead, I don't agree that it should be counted out for Game of the Year. I think it's like, I don't think it's good enough for it to be nominated, and I'm going to beat this dead horse until somebody maybe freaking gives it Game of the Year. But I think that game's amazing. I'm at the end of the hotel level, and that is the biggest pain in my damn ass because you've got I don't want to like ruin anything, but essentially you're being chased by somebody while also trying to perform like platforming, but the platforming sections are so tight. It's so annoying. So I basically just die over and over and over and over and over.
That actually reminds me of the messenger. I think it's like maybe the second to last level, the chase sequence.
Yeah, it's one of the last things.
I hate that. Oh my god, I
like that part. It was good.
That
it was
one
tough,
really. I feel like that one like ramped up difficulty so much more than the previous chase levels that I was like, oh my god.
Yeah,
impossible.
You had to be pretty much on point with it. Like if you screwed up one thing, you basically had to restart the entire thing.
I do. I also, other than Celeste, I've also been, it's like the resurgence of Chasm. I had to pop back into Chasm. So good, dude. So good. You know what my game of the year? Just kidding. It's not Celeste. It's Chasm. Get me a physical edition, and I'll make that shit happen. I'll just I'll pay people off. Jeff Keighley's in my pocket. Little did you guys know, because I'm making so much money off this podcast that I'm paying Jeff Keighley, and it's But Chasm, no, I really enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic game. The really big issue I have with it is I honestly feel like the controls at times can just be kind of cumbersome, and I swear to God, and I feel like it's not input lag, and it has nothing to do with me, which of course this is how everybody feels, but I will click like the jump button or the dodge button, and it'll pause for a second and then do it, and I'm like, I swear I'm gonna lose my shit on this game, because it happens. It doesn't happen so frequently that it's like unplayable, but it happens a decent amount. So yeah, I really enjoy Chasm though. I honestly think that it just came out at like kind of a bad time, because it came out right when Destiny 2 was getting its crap. I can't even remember what the DLC is called. The most recent DLC in Destiny 2. It came out right about that time. Like, yeah, Forsaken. Don't even get me started on Destiny. I used to be a hardcore Destiny fan, and now I'm just annoyed. So, but this is an indie game podcast. So what have you been playing, Errol?
So I don't know. One of the games I'm not sure I can talk about yet, because I know it doesn't come out until next week, and I can't.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
I'm playing the same game.
Yeah. All right. So a game that did come out this week that I picked up was Override Mech City Brawl, and it's basically a giant robot fighting game, but the the interesting thing is you can do like a co-op mode where 2 to 4 players each control a separate limb of the mech. So I was like,
That's awesome.
This game is like Pacific Rim. And then, I start the single player campaign, and it takes you to this headquarters, and like there's this hologram map of Earth, and it's like, yeah, you got to go here and defend like this thing from the giant monsters called xenotypes. And it's like they're kaiju, and I'm just like playing, and I'm like this is Pacific Rim. Even the
this
music
is literally
was like
Pacific
da
Rim.
da 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 da, and I was like, oh my god, this is Pacific Rim.
I love Pacific Rim. I mean, Uprising, you could say whatever you want, but the first Pacific Rim, fantastic movie.
I love
really
both.
Enjoyed it.
I'm an outlier with that. I like the first and the second one, but
You also like candy corn though, so I don't know.
Pacific
if
Rim
I
is
can
better than
respect your
candy corn.
opinion. It's definitely
heard it
Pacific
here.
Rim Uprising.
what a rating. I hope they put that on the box.
Errol Moss says it's better than candy corn. They're just like,
Hey, even Pacific Rim
how does that
Uprising is
go
better than
together?
candy corn, and people hate that one.
It's butthole, Errol. That's why people hate it. Just leave it alone. What else have you been playing?
Well, I'm actually still talking. I was still going to talk a little bit more about Override, because the only thing that I don't like is that instead of equipping weapons to your mech, you equip them to be deployed. So you have a main one that can be deployed at any time, and then you have 3 slots for weapons that can be deployed randomly, and you have to run around and like pick them up instead of like having them on you.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I guess they were like, oh, we can't make this a blatant ripoff of Pacific Rim. We have to do something. So now you have to deploy stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, and you could get like a beam sword and machine gun and stuff. I'm still like kind of early on in the game, but it's fun. It's like Pacific Rim. It's a lot of dumb fun. But
Pacific Rim isn't dumb, Errol. It's so good.
I mean it in a good way. And then I played a little bit of Mutant Year Zero. And
yeah, how is that? We've heard it's an interesting take on rabbits.
yeah, that's pretty much what I'm feeling. I've never really played Rabbids, but I've seen enough gameplay of it to understand how it's familiar. And I got to actually see this game at GDC. I got to preview it, and I wasn't into strategy games at the time, except for Into the Breach, which is coincidentally also a lot like Pacific Rim. But
Starting to sense a pattern here.
yeah. But I was like, oh my god, this strategy game looks awesome. And like I had barely any interest in strategy games before, so I decided I only played like the first, like maybe the opening, and it kind of combines the exploration of Mario and Rabbids with the strategy encounters, and then a little bit of stealth, because if you're I forgot what I think it's like the surrounding, so your headquarters is called the Ark, and the surrounding area is called the Zone, and you're a team of stalkers that goes into the zone to like pick up scrap and valuable items and stuff. So, but there are like these weird humanoid mutant things trying to kill you, and and it's not like, oh, there's this level and then it's like you'll be tasked with going to an area, and in that area there will be I forgot what I think they're called ghouls. Yeah. So these mutant things called ghouls, they won't be at like they won't always be the same level as you. So if you run into some that are a higher level than you can either choose to fight them, either get your ass kicked, or like try really hard not to and get better items, or you could use stealth to sneak around them and keep doing whatever you're doing.
That's pretty cool. I honestly hadn't. I don't play much just tactical games in general. So, but Mutant Year Zero sounds really cool. Last week when we had Jake Decker on the podcast, he spoke about it, and it was
I listened to that.
It's pretty interesting.
And I wish I had been there.
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird? So, you said you listened to that. I like started to like listen to the podcast, which is weird. It's basically just listening to myself and Josh talk for like hours on end.
Oh,
I
if I'm
started
not there,
listening
it's
to it.
easier.
Oh yeah, but everyone says listening to your own voice is really annoying. In my head, my voice sounds so much different than what it actually
Oh
sounds
yeah,
like.
Yeah, it's
yeah, I feel that.
So yeah, most people have the issue with that, but it makes me think that I'm not the one talking. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not too
I
worried
mean,
about
I've
it.
had problems
But
with my voice for years, so I mean, like problems with me not liking how it sounds. Not like
oh,
actual
gotcha.
vocal problems.
Yeah, like I don't have a hardcore stutter that you guys just aren't seeing or anything. But yeah, I started listening to the podcast, and it's just kind of a weird experience to hear like yourself talk for hours on end.
Oh yeah,
It's odd
gotta get
altogether.
used to it
Speaking,
though.
yeah, I hope I've got to get used to it. Just freaking listen to my podcast, god damn it. Just freaking gosh. Oh, it is also on Google Play, like Google Music now. So you guys can Google Play Music, whatever the fuck these things are called. Now they have a podcast app. It's
what do
all
you
weird.
kids do these days?
Yeah, whatever the little kiddies do. Nope, I'm not gonna do that. So yeah, it's also on Google Play Music. And you guys can check it out, subscribe to it, leave us a review, rating, whatever. Apparently it helps with algorithms. Just really listen to it in general, because that would be cool. Thank you very much. But talking about just Discovery in general, it's time to move on to our first news story of the day.
What
So
a
if you guys
great
didn't know,
segue.
I'm so good at
It's getting better.
segues.
It's
It's
getting better, man.
ridiculous.
Pretty soon
I'm
he'll
actually
be the
kind of
Segway
trying.
genius.
So if you guys didn't know how this podcast works, we initially talk about what we were playing that day or that week, especially if it's an indie game, because this is an weekly indie game podcast. Then we move into our news stories. Then we've got new stuff and indie game release schedule. And then from now on, I'm going to be asking you guys a weird question. So last week, I asked you guys, or Jake Decker and Josh, what your weirdest fear was. And that was an interesting conversation. I had never anticipated some people would be that afraid of certain things. I mean, it made my weird fear of lake and sea monsters a little bit better. I feel a little bit better about it. But our first news story of today, since we're moving into that,
No wonder
is
you're in Pacific Rim.
yeah, because they're just murdering creepy ass like sea monsters. That's exactly right. Valve now rewards successful games with a larger cut of Steam revenue. So Valve announced, so it used to take only 30%, leaving the 70% for the game developers. And this has been a point of contention among developers because they felt like they didn't do enough to receive such a large cut. Because mainly from what I understand is they literally are just the place where you buy their games. And it's also finding indie games and finding games through the Steam store is actually kind of hard to do. It's just overcrowded in general. But Valve has officially announced that there are going to be certain sales milestones that you can shoot for where they actually take lower cuts. But this is a big issue, and the reason we're talking about it on our Indie Games podcast is because it's a big issue for smaller creators. Because they're requiring you to essentially, starting on a certain date, it says starting from October 1st, 2018. So I'm assuming that's the actual date, but yeah, I'm just going to assume October 1st, 2018, that's when it happened. It says, i.e. revenues prior to that date are not included. When a game makes over 10 million on Steam, the revenue share for the application will adjust to 75% for the developer and 25% for Steam. On earnings beyond 10 million, Valve wrote in an official blog post, at 50 million, the revenue share will adjust to 80% to the developer and 20% on earnings beyond 50%. Revenue includes game packages, DLC, in-game sales, community marketplace, game fees, and their hope is that this is... I mean, really, they say their hope is to do some weird shit, but everyone's reading into this and being like, hey, lots of people are kind of doing their own thing. I mean, another news story that's going to come up right after this kind of proves that, but Discord has made their own game service. You've got GOG, you've got Humble Bundle, you've got all sorts of different services. EA, not Origins, EA Access, I believe is what it's called. And Bethesda just recently, however shitty apparently their story is with the Fallout 76 debacle, everybody's releasing their own stores, and people see this as a way that Steam is kind of trying to keep them on their platform. They're like, hey, we'll give you more money like after you sell a certain amount of copies. So, but it's a big issue for indie developers because no matter what, it's unless you like really blow up, which like we talked about with Greg Lobanov on our interview with him, you guys can check that out. It's a good interview. I really liked it. I enjoyed talking to him. But
shameless
he spoke
plug.
about... Yeah, right? So good at shameless plugs and transitions. But he talked about how and I actually didn't even know this, he's made several games, but your game blowing up, especially for an indie game, it's not common. It's not something that happens consistently. Like Toby Fox, the creator of Undertale, people are like, oh yeah, he's not sweating this. Like he's obviously making money on this. I imagine, yeah, he's sold $10 million on Steam easily with Undertale. But most indie game developers are not. They're not reaching these heights. So I don't know. How do you guys feel that this is going to shake out? I mean, obviously after our next news story, the public or our listeners are going to know a little bit more if they didn't know already. But how do you guys feel about this weird percentage gap or them increasing it depending on amount of money?
So I think, especially from like an indie game perspective, specifically the fact that you mentioned Wonder Song and like that blowing up, like even that, our consideration of blowing up, I'm pretty damn sure they still haven't hit that 10 million mark for Steam, or potentially even throughout the games collectively. So even that would not hit anything for Steam's, amount decreased from the percentage. And I feel like that's the case with just about any indie game that comes out here. There's going to be your one or your two, but like 10 million, $50 million is a lot. Like that's a lot of money. That's a lot of copies of games that have to be sold before they even see any potential decrease of that price, which 30% going to 25% is, it's a good amount. That 5% could mean a lot in the case of talking about $10 million, but like that's still a big chunk for what Steam is doing, especially if Steam is just literally hosting it there. Like in general, they're not going to do much as far as like a marketing stance on it. So really, that's a big percentage to have them just hold it. And I think it's good that other markets are opening, because the reason why it's been 30% and they've gotten away with it is because it's just a monopoly on the system. That being said, I am a little upset just because if this is the state where it's going to multiple locations, it kind of sucks because I like having my Steam library. As a consumer, it's convenient for me, but with the downset of the indie developers not being able to make it, I would choose a different one knowing that they're going to get more profit for this, and potentially if I like this game that they're going to make a second one or continue development on it if they have those funds.
I'm wondering if sorry, I'm gonna ask you your opinion on this in just a second, Errol, but I thought about it right after Josh started talking. So there's this thing that's a consistent, like it's happening consistently, or we're hearing it consistently from indie devs, is that their games are selling a lot more on the Nintendo Switch than they are on pretty much any other platform.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's making me, especially after this news, it's making me wonder, most indie games, they come to Steam first, and then they'll come to like other platforms, or they'll come to Steam and like one platform, like Wonder Song came to Steam and Switch. But it's making me wonder if I don't know how big of a cut Nintendo takes. But if they're selling so much more on the Nintendo Switch, you have to wonder if games are going to start like coming on Nintendo Switch. It's going to be the staple for indie games, whereas PC was before. But I also don't know what kind of hurdles you have to jump over, and I understand that games are a lot easier to develop for the PC than they are for some consoles. But yeah, how do you feel about this in general, Errol?
So I mean, it definitely sucks for indie games, but to your point, I've been noticing that too about the Nintendo Switch thing, and how more and more games are like releasing on PC and Switch rather than just PC, or doing PC first and then doing stuff later. Although that still happens, as we saw with like Into the Breach and stuff. But that's probably a bad example because that's a really successful indie. But
yeah, but it's also that the Switch is relatively new. The hardware is only 2 years. This could be a gap, or at least a jump, where indie games go more towards being like, all right, well, I'm just going to put my stuff on the Switch first, or it'll come at the
they
same
might
time.
be going on console first rather than PC first.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a market for there. At least it's becoming more popular anyway.
I'm kind of, in a way, I kind of think that's a good thing, just because, I mean, I'm not primarily a PC gamer, and I only play stuff on PC if I absolutely have to, because I just have my laptop is not really for gaming, but indie games luckily work most of the time. But like, I feel like I know a lot more people who play games on console, so they'd be more likely to be aware of more indie games if they launch on console first.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm definitely from this is a selfish point of view, but I hope that this kind of, I don't want to say forces developers to come to Switch like right off the bat kind of a thing, but yeah, I hope it forces them to, because I want to play games on my Nintendo Switch. I have my Nintendo Switch, and I use it not, I mean, my PS4 is my main system, which indie games generally like a year after come to PS4. So it takes a while, especially with people like me who want physical copies. But I always double dip. It's an issue with me. I've got so many games over and over again.
I will say, one of the things, you're very excited for it to obviously come to Switch or to consoles. One thing to think about, though, a caveat on that, as a person who does play PC games a lot and a person who plays a lot of like weird indies, is you're going to find that if that's the jump and it goes more towards, all right, well, we're not going to put out as much for PC, we're going to go first to console, you're going to find a lot of trash games. Like, if you look through Steam or you look through other areas, there's a lot of games that don't make it because they just would never make it. Like, there's a trash heap out there. Not that I'm saying that all the games out there are, but there's so much out there that really, like, especially on Steam, that is just like terrible.
There's already like a bunch of trash on Switch too.
I know, and
I was like, you're saying that like it doesn't already happen.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying though. Is think about how it is now, and think about like what's on PC. Like, there is just an enormous amount of garbage.
Who is approving these?
Yeah, right. I mean, discoverability is already kind of an issue on consoles, and they have probably like a tenth of the library that PC does. Because games always come to PC, and it's generally like, if they make money, they'll come to consoles, but if it doesn't make money on Steam, then it's like, oh, cool, well, we're just not going to worry about it. But to expand on this topic, we are going to go to our next news story. This is Epic Games announces store launch, 88% of revenue share with developers. So they announced on Tuesday... Epic Games announced Tuesday the launch of their new online store, which will have an 88 to 12% split with developers. I think the coolest part about this is, though, that actually an added like caveat to them basically taking only 12% of revenue is that Epic also stated that they will not take any profit. They will not take a profit from any games made with the Unreal Engine, which, if you guys don't know, Epic is the developer of the Unreal Engine. But I find that awesome. There's a bunch more to this news story, but those are kind of the two big points that I wanted to talk about when it comes to indies. Is that we did just obviously have a conversation about games coming to the Nintendo Switch possibly as a backup, but also you have to wonder how many people are going to develop their games for, like you always see, I've talked about it several times, like in God Bless the Crowd, how it says it's going to come to like Mac, Linux, and like Windows PC, or they like immediately advertise a Steam page and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if indie games we're gonna, once this Epic Games like store actually launches, if we're going to, I wouldn't say no longer see like a Steam page link, but if it's just going to be like immediately developers switching over and they're like, yeah, if you go to the Epic store, I mean, once this gets up and running, because there's like definitely some caveats to it, like games developed with any game engine are allowed on the store, but the first releases will include Unreal, Unity, and others. So yeah, it's I'm interested to see if a lot of developers flock, like where they go, kind of a thing. If they're not only on Steam anymore because, like you said, it's monopoly, or if they're going to start moving to Epic's store now, or they're going to like go a little bit more toward GOG, or if they're gonna start coming to the Nintendo Switch more. But yeah, it's nice to see people like getting a little bit more money.
Yeah, and I don't think like this is gonna obviously hit Steam in a way that won't really be noticed for probably a few years. I don't think they have to worry about anything that these other competitors are coming out there. They need to worry, but it's not like the end of the world for Steam. Steam is so big and it has such a renowned status that I don't think they're going to just fall off the face of the earth. But
definitely not.
Yeah, but I do like this because it really puts more of a competition in a market that really didn't have enough. So I'm interested to see what their response, being Steam, to this would be. So what are they going to do? Are they going to change their percentage rate based on this? Are they going to hold a stance on that's what it is, or maybe they'll do something different to try and promote those indie games? Maybe they'll do some type of way that they're having a better marketing pitch for them, or a better way that they're discovered, rather than changing the percentages. I don't know what that's going to be, but obviously they need to think of something. I think long term, but short term, they're Steam. They're not going anywhere.
Or with more competition, maybe it'll encourage them to actually, look at what they're doing for once.
Probably not.
You know what I'm kind of wondering
improve.
that I just thought about? You got to wonder how many people out there are crossing their fingers that Valve starts losing a lot of money because of this and starts making games again.
Oh, that's true.
They're like, maybe they'll lose enough money to where we'll actually get Half-Life 3.
No, as much as I'd love to see that,
3,
I feel
baby.
like, yeah, as much as I'd love to see that, I feel like there's so much hype around it that no matter what they produce, even if it's like the greatest game on the planet, it'll be dog trash.
Yeah, there's not. People are gonna have their hopes too high. But yeah, I actually hadn't even thought about that angle. Like, if there have to be people out there who are actually crossing their fingers that like Valve is gonna lose some money because they want them to develop more games. Because I think it's been quite a while since, like, I think it was Left 4 Dead 2 was the last game they released, other than Artifact is the most recent one. I'm not, obviously that's not a fact. I'm just saying I think that's what it is.
Artifact.
But it's
But
God
Okay, guys, I'm leaving.
yeah.
the Not Trio is back.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely kind of one of those people under the table crossing my fingers hoping they lose some money so they make games again.
I would just hope that they can actually... I would hope that they do some stuff to, just improve Steam, because there are plenty of problems that users have been complaining about for what feels like forever. It's a long time, and like nobody says anything. And it's like, okay, but if you don't improve, people are gonna there are gonna be people who go somewhere else. Yeah, it's not gonna be the end of the world for you because everybody's still buying stuff on Steam, but you're still losing money.
I will say to Steam and Valve's benefit, I think Steam has the best like achievement. Like their achievement system is really cool.
Yeah.
So PlayStation obviously has trophies. Microsoft has just they're literally achievements. And you like get points and stuff like that. But Steam does cards.
Yeah.
And the cards are really fucking cool. And you can also sell them. Yeah, it's so much cooler. And I've thought about buying more games on Steam because I was like, shit, those cards are so awesome. And like I just love the fact that there's like an entire economy based on them. Like you can purchase cards and you can sell cards and actually use that currency. I think that's really awesome. So yeah, that's one thing I really enjoy about Steam.
That's so funny hearing you say that, just because like as a person who uses Steam and plays games on that medium constantly, I hate those cards because I'm always like, oh, another one of these stupid things, like get out of here. It always
They're
every
so
time
cool.
every time you play a game, it always pops up in your inbox and I'm always like, what the hell is this stupid thing? And I'm like, oh, these friggin' cards again.
I'm kind of indifferent to it. I'm just like, oh, look at that. Okay.
Yeah. I feel like my obsession with physical media is because I really like cover art, and the reason that I like these cards so much is because when an achievement pops or when you get a trophy, it's just like, oh cool, I got a bronze trophy, and the icon is just a bronze trophy. Or with some games on PlayStation 4, it'll have a picture of when you completed that task, but on Steam it gives you a cool little picture of like, it's like an interesting, like I was playing Starbound a while ago. And like the cards you get from that are just like little aliens. I thought that was really cute. I was like, yes, this is awesome. But yeah, that's where my obsession truly lies, is in cover art.
Also,
so
this
for
is really big.
Hey, good cover
Go ahead.
art is good.
What's really big?
I was gonna say this is a really big tangent, but like, come on, Switch, where are your achievements? You're the only platform who doesn't do it, and I freaking want it so bad.
But counterpoint. Trophies and achievements don't matter.
Yeah, that is a good point. But it's like once it came out, everybody was so excited about them. Once everything happened, like when PlayStation announced trophies and everything, yeah, to some people they don't matter, but to other people, it's a big fucking deal. People really like trophies. Yeah, like the fact that people will buy a $1 game because it's like a 30-minute platinum or whatever. One, I feel like, yeah, that's a waste of time. I'm definitely in Gary Whitta's camp where he's like, but, like, is it worth it? Like, does it matter? You had to play the shit game.
Here's the thing that I'm mad about. So, on PS2 and PS4, a couple games have platinum. Bully has a platinum. But a game that I've almost 100%ed, War of the Monsters, it does not have a platinum. And they've re-released this game twice. And what? God, why are you re-releasing it if you're not going to give it a platinum trophy, huh?
But Errol,
yeah,
they don't matter. Why are you so salty?
Yeah,
that's why I say they don't matter.
Kind of funny.
Because War of the Monsters doesn't have one, therefore they don't matter.
All right.
Specifically War of the Monsters.
I'll go contact them and have them put a platinum in there. Just
also,
I change your mind.
There was to be honest, with a game we can't talk about, I am one trophy away from platinuming it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to you a little bit more about this after.
I wish I knew what we were talking about.
It's my issue.
We'll tell you later.
Yeah.
We'll tell you when you're older. By a couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
By a couple minutes. So on to our next story. This is over on Polygon. Stardew Valley developer splits with publisher and strikes out on his own. However much I hate the pickaxe animations in Stardew Valley, I have to give it to him. He, Concerned Ape is what people know him as, but his name is Eric Baron, whatever. Concerned Ape, let's go with that. He basically has, he's cut ties with Chucklefish, and he's going out on his own. He's going to start publishing his own games. He's going to be in charge of all but the Switch and mobile versions, from what I understand, of Stardew Valley. I mean, it's not necessarily like a massive story. I just think that's really cool. Apparently the split was like amicable, so they just kind of like I guess when the game originally came out, he didn't really know anything about it, and Chucklefish really helped him out with the console ports and translation of the game, which when we talked to Greg Lobanov, he was having difficulties, I guess, with the translation of Wondersong into different languages. So I think it's really cool that he now has the tools at his disposal that he thinks, like, I'm assuming he definitely, like, he thinks he can do this, which is cool. He has the confidence in his ability to publish his games, I guess.
I mean, we talk about this guy a lot. Stardew Valley.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Thing has come up so much on our podcast. He's everywhere in the news. He's on every platform. He's doing it all himself. I mean, good for him. And like you said, it's really cool that for Chucklefish, they were just like, yep, you got it, dude. Like, you the man. You can just walk away. Like, that's the weirdest.
At least we're hoping it's
idea.
that.
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. Well, because they're still working on the others, right? I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like something happened where all ties were cut off. It was just like, yep, I'm gonna take it from here, guys.
But I'm kind of confused. So wasn't he working on? I can't remember if that was that the same developer? He's also working on the
Harry Potter one.
Not Harry Potter, but yeah.
What the fuck?
The wizard one. Yeah, the wizard.
Spellbound or I forgot which name. It was Spellbound or it was something else.
It was.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I have no idea.
They called it Spellbound as like a internal thing, which stuck, but it was actually. I can't remember.
I forgot the actual name because Spellbound was a good name.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Don't you guys hate when like the like working name turns out better than the actual title? Like like how like back in the Wii was gonna be the Nintendo Revolution, so half of the Wii games are like blah 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 Revolution. Like whoops.
90% of everything, the name is way cool. Like their code name is way cooler than the actual thing. Like Xbox Scarlet, it's definitely not gonna be called that, but that's a cool name. It's gonna be like Xbox One Diddly. You know, like that's
Xbox One Diddly.
Xbox Infinity. I would buy it if they named it that. What a great name. I'd be all over that Diddly box.
God damn it.
Or the
it's
Project Octopath Traveler.
It's called Witchbrook, by the way.
That's what it was. I knew it was Witch something. And I was gonna say Witchfire because Game Awards is tomorrow, and that was last year around this time, and I'm like, that's not it. That's completely different.
I definitely think Spellbound was a cooler name. I mean, Witchbrook is an interesting name, but Spellbound is definitely a cooler name.
Spellbound is better. No, he was working on that and Eastward.
God damn it.
So, I don't see any change to Chucklefish being a part of Witchbrook, but I guess he just wanted to do. I mean, Stardew Valley is pretty set as it is, so I feel like it's an easier project to start publishing after it's already made its way. So maybe he just wants to get some experience to start doing this for future titles. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
That's very true.
Oh, that's a different developer. Okay, Eastward is a different developer, but it's Chucklefish still.
So on to our next story. We are heading over to Polygon. This is PlayStation Plus games for December include SOMA and Onrush. Those two are for PS4. There's of course some for PS Vita, and I believe they're still doing some for PS3. I think through the end of this year or something. I know they announced that they're gonna stop doing PlayStation Plus free games for PS3, which I'm not okay with. But
they're still doing that.
Yeah, so, right?
I was annoyed by something the other day that I talked to you guys about earlier. So usually I can find if the Vita games are cross-buy with PS4, I can find them on the PS4 PlayStation Store just fine. So I thought Iconoclast would be up there, and it was not up there. And
yeah, I definitely thought that was weird too. Yeah, I went on there, and recently they've been giving you 2 VR titles, and on top of the games that you would get just normally. So when you go to like the PlayStation 4 Marketplace and go to PlayStation Plus, you'd see like 4 titles or basically just more than the 2 that's normally advertised. And that was really cool because I was like, sweet, I'm just beefing up my library for when I get like a PlayStation VR or when I pick up a Vita again or just all this stuff. But yeah, I noticed that too. After you said that, I went on to the PlayStation Plus and all that was there was SOMA and Onrush. And I was like, what the fuck? Because I really want to play Iconoclast. I've heard it's really good.
I just got it from the website and now like started downloading it.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. It's so much easier to just do it on the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
But if you guys have like PlayStation consoles and everything and you have PlayStation Plus, I would absolutely recommend going on the website and just adding them to your library from there, because you could do all the consoles from there, and then yeah, you're just beefing up your library for if you ever get these consoles. Like once I get a Vita again, let alone the physical Vita cartridges I have, I'll be able to play on it. But yes, I have games for consoles I don't have. But let alone those, I'll also have like a massive like backlog of other like indie games and such that I've got from PlayStation Plus.
Hold on. Did you ever have a Vita, or are you just buying physical release? Okay, I was like, you have a problem.
No.
If so, where you're like, I'm
I
just creating this catalog of games, so one day when I actually have a Vita, I'll be able to play it.
I do that though. I've never had a Wii.
Did that for.
I have Wii games.
I did that for Switch just with Zelda.
That just makes sense, though. Like, you gotta have that. But no, I did have a Vita, and then I realized all the games I was buying and playing on my Vita were actually cross-buy, and I was like, I could just play this on my PS4. Why? And then, of course, after I sell my Vita, I'm like, fuck. Now I can't play Persona 4 Golden, and I can't play, like, Freedom Wars. I can't play all these games that everybody says is amazing. All these games that they say are amazing. Unless I want to get a PlayStation TV, which I'm not going to do that. That's just annoying. I'd rather have a PlayStation Vita. But of course, there's not just SOMA and Onrush that you can get. On PlayStation 3, subscribers will have access to 2 games, side-scrolling shoot-'em-up roguelike Stardew. Yeah, I'm going to say that's Stardew, and the visual novel Steins Gate.
I hear Steins Gate is very good.
Yeah, it's a weird anime.
Only.
I've watched the anime of Steins Gate, and I've watched some of it. It's really weird.
It's good if you like stuff like Zero Escape, maybe Danganronpa, but that might be a bit of a stretch. I only say that because I know in the mobile game, the creator of Zero Escape, Kotaro Uchikoshi, wrote one of the scenarios. So...
That's kind of interesting.
I'm always interested in stuff he does. But yeah, sorry.
If you do have a PlayStation Vita and you're not like me and just have a gigantic backlog for a console you don't have, on PlayStation Vita, the colorful action platformer Iconoclasts, like you said, and the political adventure game Papers, Please will both be free with PlayStation Plus on the PS Vita. Of course, I would definitely recommend going onto their website to add these on there because it's much easier. Yeah, the guy who made Papers, Please recently put out The Return of Obra Dinn, and apparently it's a pretty decent game. I actually might check it out now after we had the conversation with Jake Decker. I feel weird that I keep saying his full name. I keep saying Jake Decker.
I saw my friend Mary Kish, who also does stuff at GameSpot. Coincidentally, play it for a little bit. It looked pretty interesting, like a murder mystery type game.
Yeah, and supposedly you go back in time to try to find out. I mean, you have a stopwatch that allows you to see back in time to where they died, and you just piece together how these people died. I think that's pretty cool. It's kind of a weird concept, and I'm glad that you don't have to stick with those Macintosh graphics, apparently. So that's pretty sweet. But for our next story... yeah, that's what Jake said, is that you could change the graphic setting.
Oh, I don't remember that. Why don't I remember that?
Jeez, why aren't you even listening? It's
I
probably
guess.
because it didn't say anything and then went by at 3,000 miles a second.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember that part. I just every time I think about that game, I'm just like, nope, hurts my eyes. Don't want to play it. Maybe I'll
Yeah, I
actually
love
check
that
it
that
out
was your
then.
first question. You're like, does it make your eyes hurt?
Yeah. It
I think it's a
actually
valid
it
question.
reminds me.
That's definitely a valid question. So for our next news story, we're over on Game Informer. This is Shantae developer Wayforward supporting Bloodstained development. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, the Castlevania-inspired platformer from Koji Igarashi. The mind behind Castlevania Symphony of the Night, announced that a new development partner today, Wayforward, the studio behind the Shantae series of games, as well as 2013's DuckTales Remastered, among other quality 2D platformers, is assisting with development. I think that's pretty awesome. I've been wanting to check out the Shantae game. Shantae. I'm pretty sure it's Shantae. I've been wanting to check them out ever since Half Genie Hero came out, and they put it out physically on the Vita, and I thought it looked really cool. You could like turn her into this weird ass crab, and I thought that was odd. But yeah, I'm really glad to hear that they're actually like kind of eliciting help with Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, or sorry, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, not Curse of the Moon. That's the 2D Castlevania-esque game that came out this year. Are you guys waiting for Bloodstained, or you're
Yes.
just all good with Curse of the Moon?
So I definitely want it. I'm pretty big on like Metroidvania type games, and I think this is gonna hopefully do the series justice. And I'm super excited that this developer is joining because I've only played one of the Shantae games, the one Shantae and the Pirate Curse, which I actually really enjoyed. But specifically for like the DuckTales one, God, that was such a good game, the remastered edition. And like that, one of the things about playing both those two games is from like a theme perspective, it doesn't make any sense. Like those games are totally different in comparison to a Castlevania type, but Jesus, the platforming of it is very good, and I can't wait for them to like mold those two worlds together because I think it's going to be amazing. I'm definitely interested to see where it goes, and I think if they're getting help from anyone, this is definitely a good team or developer to find that from.
Have you played any of the Shantae games, Arrow?
I have not, but I know Wayforward does some really good work. I know they did the Mummy Demastered, which is one of those games where it's based on a movie that isn't so great, but the game somehow turned out awesome. And
That's weird.
well, it reminds.
That doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, especially these days, because you don't really get licensed movie games unless they're just a mobile tie-in or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I think it'll only help with because I know like Ritual of the Night has been delayed a few times. I'm pretty sure, so I think it'll only help.
Well, I mean, granted, bringing someone in last minute can often delay
That's
something
true,
even
too.
more. So I don't know
Yeah.
about that, but
I mean, but I don't know. I feel like now that they have the help, maybe it'll be an easier process for them. I don't know.
yeah, it depends. I mean, it could go either way.
We'll see.
But
So for our next story, we are heading over to Rock Paper Shotgun. I found that I love that name so much. It's so good. Yeah, I don't know why. This
Rock, paper,
is
Super Saiyan.
that your
this is
competitor website?
Future Sports Ball MOBA Steel Circus announces taking alpha signups. So I don't know anything about Steel Circus. I literally like just checked out the closed alpha teaser and I was like, this doesn't look like traditional MOBAs. It looks a lot more like Rocket League than it looks like a MOBA. It looks like just kind of a weird like sports-esque. It's like a soccer game, but you play with your hands, kind of a thing. Like it looks weird, but I'm assuming one of you really thought it was cool.
I did. I added it. So I've played a lot of MOBAs, just from back in the day. Like I've played Dota 2, I've played League of Legends, played Heroes of the Storm. But I think this is such a neat, like, I love the MOBA style play, I guess. Not really MOBAs though. So I think this brings a good element of it, of having that top down, of having the different abilities. Like I just think it's interesting, and I've always kind of thought about that, especially when you think of like esports, like watching esports from like for like League of Legends or like a MOBA base. There's no like score back and forth. It's not like you can watch like another game like hockey or like basketball or football and you're like, oh, the score is going up, it's going blah, back and forth. Like there's obviously different ways, but I just thought that this might be an interesting, like eventually if it does actually turn out good, an interesting esports kind of watching something just different, I guess, from a MOBA aspect.
Yeah, it's less of the like, I don't know, MOBAs, I've kind of found them boring, which is kind of a bad thing. I mean, that's a bad thing to say about MOBAs. I don't know. I've just never found them like really interesting, and I've always hated the fact that it deleted your progress. Because I've always felt like in combat-oriented games, progress was such a big deal. Which, of course, there's like roguelikes and roguelites, so that's a thing. But I don't know why. It's like sports games kind of get a pass for me, where it's just about the fun of the game. It's not necessarily about what I'm getting from it. So yeah, I definitely agree with you that it would be cool if this game got like a lot behind it and ended up becoming like a big deal. I don't know. We talked about like getting big before blowing up. I definitely hope that this game gets a little bit more recognition, because it does look really cool. I definitely like share your sentiment that this would be an awesome game. Are you like an esports fan at all, Errol? You just like, I don't care about this game, Steel Circus, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I'm just like, good for people who like that. I've tried MOBAs, and I'm just not about them. Except for there was one, I don't know if it's exactly a MOBA. What is Smite considered a MOBA?
It's a MOBA.
Yes.
Smite is a MOBA. It's just first
like,
person.
Yeah. So I kind of liked what I played of that, but probably because it was a bit different. But otherwise, yeah, I'm just not really into them.
Yeah, I played League of Legends for 5 minutes, and my friend was a dick to me, so I never played again.
Same.
Everyone in that community is pretty bad.
Yeah, they're all kind of mean.
Yeah, MOBAs are not...
League of jerks.
They're not good for newbies. Like, MOBAs just never are good for people starting off.
That's true. It's a very competitive genre. It's kind
I
of
do
interesting.
remember my friend was like telling me about it and how this rhythm game helps you practice League of Legends or something.
Probably for like last hitting
What the
farm and
hell?
shit like that.
It was like this clicking thing, and it was like doing this crazy stuff, and I was like, huh. Like, that's
Yeah, my roommate and my best friend are obsessed with, or they were obsessed with Paragon, and yeah, that turned out very well. Apparently, there's like 3 to 6, I think, different indie teams supposedly that are working on possibly bringing Paragon back, since Epic released the assets into the Unreal Engine. So I don't know. Maybe we'll be one day reporting on an indie release of Paragon, which would be really cool.
Sponsored by Parallax.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we wish.
Sponsored by John's Obsession. Yay. So I think it's about time to move on to our kind of really rotating game segment, or just a segment in general. We got new stuff. So this is where we tell you about all the new stuff, the news stories that we don't have a whole lot to talk about, but I guess this is kind of like, I feel weird saying this. This is kind of like the trash pile where we just throw things
I don't know about that.
we're not going to talk about. Let's be real. These are news stories that are kind of inconsequential. You're just like, cool. Or things we already knew about. Let's go with that. It's thing we already knew about, but generally it's trailers. So in new stuff, we've got GUACAMELEE 2 gets Switch and Xbox One release dates. The Switch, like we talked about on our last episode, is coming out December 10th, and the Xbox One is coming in January 2019. I really hate that this article says gets release dates, and then it's like, nah, it gets a release time frame on the Xbox One. Thank you very much. It is not a release date. January is not a date.
It's
that
many
is a
dates. There's so many dates in January.
They're like, technically, we just made it plural, so suck it. The one I'm really excited about, Firewatch is coming to the Nintendo Switch on December 17th. I think Firewatch is amazing. I absolutely love that game. Campo Santo is pretty sweet. What?
Did Firewatch come out last year?
Firewatch came out 2 to 3 years ago. I think it was 3
yeah.
years ago.
Okay, because I know somebody. I was looking at the Game Awards nominees from the past, and I think somebody was nominated for Best Performance. Somebody from Firewatch.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Came out in 2016.
Okay, so it must have been that year that whoever that person was nominated. Just something I was like, oh, Firewatch.
Yeah, and now Campo Santo is working on, I think it's called In the Valley of the Gods.
Oh yeah, is that the
really
Egypt
cool.
one?
Yeah, it's about like archaeology in Egypt.
Yeah,
I think that looks
my
really
my
cool.
best friend, one of my best friends, she's super into that. So I was like, hey, look at this.
Firewatch is coming to Switch December 17th. Get ready. So for more new stuff, we've got Super Evil Megacorp. That's an interesting name to call a company. Yeah, is launching Vainglory 4.0 on PC and making plans for cross-platform play. And Path of Exile's PS4 release has been pushed back to February 2019. Okay, so the real reason that I say this is like the trash pile is because this is like where the worst news comes. So it's like Path of Exile. If you're excited about it, fuck you. It's delayed. It's coming in February 2019. You should hate this segment of our podcast.
But GUACAMELEE 2 coming to Switch is good news.
I know.
That is, but the fact that they say dates and then they give me a month really pisses me off. So it goes in the new stuff.
I don't think so. Have either of you played Path of Exile?
No,
Nope.
I just like skipped past it really quick. I think it looks really cool though.
Have you ever played Diablo?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Who hasn't played Diablo?
I know.
Dude?
What's your favorite Diablo out of 1, 2, and 3?
I've only played 3.
What the? Get out! Get out! What is wrong with you? That's the worst one of the 3.
I mean, I watched my friend play a lot of 2.
2 is the best, and Path of Exile is basically better version of 2. Play Path of Exile. It's good.
Or you could play Diablo Immortal. Easily
You
the best
could
of
just
the few.
throw your phone in the toilet.
We all have smartphones, right?
Everybody has them.
That was an awesome moment in video games history. Definitely.
I'd rather be able to play
That's a whole
the
thing.
Diablo game on my Nokia.
Your flip phone? Yeah.
Not my flip phone. Just the.
Yeah, Nokia's put out smartphones. The Nokia Lumina. I had one for a while.
No, I'm talking about
I'm
like.
gonna tell you right
I'm
now.
talking
about
about.
bricks?
Pieces of shit.
I'm talking about the old Nokia's phones
Like the big ass
that
brick.
had like Snake and like Arkanoid on them or whatever random name they called it.
Sure.
Yeah, you'd rather. Are you saying you'd rather play Diablo Immortal?
No, I'm
on
saying
that,
put.
or are you
No,
just
I'm
saying
saying
I'd
put it
rather
on
play
that.
I mean,
Because everybody's got one of those, right?
Yeah,
but honestly, that would be
So-
pretty impressive.
and it would still get more players. I mean, what?
Did you see? I forget necessarily the system it was on, but Sean Murray a while ago tweeted out that he got No Man's Sky running on like I think it was a Commodore 64 or something like that.
What?
Yeah,
How
he
is
got
that-
it on like this super old PC, or I think it was a Commodore 64. It was weird.
How is that even possible? Unless he like gutted the inside and.
Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know how they did it. I just remember seeing a news story about it a while ago. I mean, there's always those weird ass news stories where games get ported or like somebody works on like a console port for like the Commodore 64 of like fucking Skyrim and
Yeah,
shit.
guys, I'm gonna go play Red Dead Redemption 2 on my Game Boy Advance.
I would shit my pants. That'd be amazing. Get that SP, that backlight, so you don't have to use that stupid ass like plug-in light that
The
eats
flip
batteries. Yeah, I love the SP so much.
I still have.
And then there was
well,
the
you guys
Game
know I
Boy
still have it.
Pocket. That's
No.
like really tiny.
No, you're talking about
No?
the micro.
Yeah, the Game Boy.
The
Micro,
Pocket
yeah,
was
yeah.
a different thing.
Yeah, I don't even know. Yeah, the Game Boy Micro that was like basically the stick of a gun, like the pack of gum. It was like
You
really
couldn't
tiny.
even do a link cable with that, and it only played
Still
Game Boy
cool.
Advance games.
Still cool, Errol. Still cool. I could play my Pokemon Emerald on it. For some reason, they won't remaster it, so I might as well just play it on that.
Just nobody liked it.
That's bullshit. They didn't remaster that freaking game. They did Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, and I hate it.
And they half-assed it.
Yeah, give me freaking Rayquaza. I don't want these freaking Kyogre.
Rayquaza is in the end. Did you play Omega Ruby?
No, I did. I'm just saying, I want it to be specifically about Rayquaza. I want him to be on the cover.
The post-game. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want him to be on the cartridge. That's my issue, Errol. If you didn't notice, I'm very vain when it comes to games. So it's time to move on to our next segment. This is God Bless the Crowd. This is where Josh specifically, because I don't understand how crowdfunding sites work, he goes through different crowdfunding sites and finds some sweet games that we want to talk about on the podcast. Of course, there are a shitload of crowdfunding sites. Apparently, there's like Fig, which is definitely something that you eat. And then we've got one from Kickstarter. Figures. Yeah, oh shit. I just realized that's why it's called Fig Trailer, is because it's on the fucking website. God damn it. I got my hopes up for nothing. So on today's God Bless the Crowd segment, we've got Freja and the False Prophecy, and we've got the Hero of Death Trap Dungeon. I personally think Freja and the False Prophecy looks amazing. I've actually been following the development of it on Twitter for quite a while. It's a 2D Norse platforming game. I think it looks fantastic. It definitely has kind of an interesting goal, I would say. Well, not really. It's $22K, which is better than asking for 100,000, I guess.
Or a couple
It's got
mil.
173 backers at the moment. Yeah. It's got 173 backers at the moment. 26 days to go. I would honestly say that I bet it gets funded, which is, I mean, I don't know. Would you guys disagree with that? Do you think with 26 days it can make a decent chunk of money that it can make?
Got time. There's plenty of
time. With how popular Norse mythology and video games is right now, I think it probably could.
Yeah, they just gotta say Horizon Zero Dawn 2D without the robots, and then they'll make all the money.
I was gonna say God of War, but okay.
Nope, Horizon Zero Dawn 2D without the robots is a much more apt comparison. I have to commend them. They've got some awesome bonuses to backing their game. Like their biggest one that they still have available. Yeah. So the biggest one that they have altogether is $500 or more, and it's the Ultimate Bundle, which gets you a bunch of really cool stuff, but it actually gets you 4 copies of the game, which is really cool. You get 2 t-shirts. Yeah, some physical shit. Thank you very much. You get posters. You've got tote bags that I'm sure are probably going to be not nylon. They'll be at least canvas. You know what I mean?
No, they won't.
You get postcards, flash drives. These guys give you cool shit, and that's for $500. Normally, they're like, hey, you want a t-shirt? Give me $5,000 and make my fucking game, and you can have a t-shirt. That's what you get.
You're so salty about those rewards.
Some are so dumb.
The game does look really cool, though. I definitely... It looks interesting. I'm wondering... The battle, like the actual fighting mechanics, look a little clunky at times, so I'm not sure, but I haven't played the demo, so I can't really say. Just from looking at it looks like it, but maybe it feels, like that weight to it actually will make sense with the character. But it looks like it has a lot of depth to it, and I think, where was it? I think there was something about a story-based line in this of you having actual dialogue choices, or maybe I'm confusing this with another, but there's a lot to it. I like the fact that it has its own skill tree, the fact that it's not just a random 2D just hack and slash in there. There's actual parts to it. It does remind me a lot of God of War, now that you've mentioned it, though, with a lot of the abilities, but I'm still gonna stick with Horizon Zero Dawn 2D without robots.
So my whole thing with this, it looks good, but to be honest, I'm kind of tired of Norse. I can't talk.
Norse mythology.
Yeah, it's kind of like after, we had. It wasn't just God of War. There were a couple other big games based around it. Of course, I can't even think of it.
I can't remember it because there's not that many out there. Interesting. Well, it's okay. We got a new one.
Well, I feel like once God of War did it, it's like, okay, everybody can go home. Let's do a different mythology now. It's like,
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey did Greek mythology.
well, see, my whole thing is, it's always like Greek or Norse or, well, now we're getting a little more like sometimes there's Egyptian. Um, I like, I've played some indie games. Like, have you guys heard of Mulaka?
Nope.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen it on like a couple different things,
So-
but I've never played it.
So Mulaka is a 3D platformer, and it uses the myths and legends of the Terra Humana tribe, which is an indigenous tribe in northern Mexico. And the thing is, all their stuff, all their stories and myths and legends were passed down orally. They didn't have stuff written down. There wasn't actually that much art they could go off of to develop this game. So this game is the game is kind of a way of preserving that culture, and I like when like lesser known mythologies and cultures are represented in games instead of the same thing over and over. You know what I mean?
Jeez, Errol, way to
Yeah.
shit all over the games I'm picking.
Yeah, right.
No.
What are you gonna say about the Hero of Death Trap Dungeon, huh? Too many dungeons?
Yes. I don't.
Too much paper.
No, I
No.
actually I've never heard about this, but that's actually really cool. I like the concept of like preserving history through a game.
Yeah.
Where there's not. But I mean, yeah, that's like an amazing concept, but not everyone's gonna be able to do that. Like that's a
Yeah.
big
No.
endeavor.
No. I know. I get that. I just like it would be nice to see a little more variety. You know, because I feel like Greek, like I said, Greek, Norse, and Egyptians are the ones we kind of seen the most.
That's true. There quite often do we actually see that. I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of like smaller bits of mythology, and well, now that I think about it, the reason we probably see that so often is because they pay off. Like people know about that
Yeah.
Yeah.
mythology, so it's like so easily recognizable. It's like, of course.
What I would love is if somebody based a game off of the earlier parts of Assassin's Creed 3 that had to do with like Native American mythology, because I think that would be so cool.
Oh, but instead you get to play as a whiny bitch who like basically
Jesus.
kills himself in the end.
I watched
freaking hate
my
Connor
roommate
so
of the
much.
time play that game. But after the beginning part, I was out.
Freaking Connor's a dill hole. So on to the other game, the Hero of Death Trap Dungeon. This looks actually really cool. It's a modern role-playing video game with old pen and paper feel. So I mean, I've only seen a little bit about this game, but it kind of reminds me of like Knights of Pen and Paper, I think is what the game's called. Yeah, enter the world's deadliest competition. You've got 30 days to conquer a labyrinth designed to kill you, filled with monsters, traps, and ruthless competitors. I mean, it definitely looks awesome. Being a fan of just Dungeons and Dragons in general, I think this looks awesome. It's one of those like really high goals. It's got a $200,000 goal, but it's already 64% there, and it still has 13 days to go. It's got $129,000, a little bit over that. That's really awesome. I don't know. Does it feel like most games should just go on fig.co because apparently like you just actually get your goals? Like the last game we saw on here was Soundfall, and it did really well.
Would you say it did a banger of a job?
You know what? I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You got me. I'm just gonna bend on this and say yeah. It's a banger of a
Bends him
job.
until he snaps. Woo! So kind of a comment on that. One of the things about Fig though is like not just everyone gets to throw their game into here like Kickstarter can. It seems like there's a much more stringent process with Fig, because if you look, Fig at any given time only has like one or two games that are currently going on at the time. They have a lot of like older campaigns, but I haven't seen them do continuous like a number of games all at the same time. And it's also based a little bit differently because with Fig, instead of like Kickstarter where it's just everyone throws all their money at it, with Fig there's the concept of being an investor. And with an investor, you're basically paying like a big portion of the money. Like I think you have to throw down like $1,000 for every share of the game, but you make your money back if people start buying it because you're basically invested and you get a percentage of the profit. So it's like,
Yeah, it's like how a standard investment works.
yeah, it's a much different model for this type of thing. So they're not going to have this for just any game that comes out.
Yeah, that definitely. I mean, you make a great point, and also, this Death Trap dungeon, it's got some sweet stuff. You got that physical art book. You get a physical map, a boxed collector's copy. I mean, Josh,
What about a figure
give me
though?
$750 worth of shipping, and
What about a
I'll
figure
get you.
though?
nah, dude, nope. No, oh, but I do
well, then
get
it's not
to
worth
design an in-game quest.
Oh, your favorite!
Fucking assholes.
Your favorite! Don't you just want to do it? You should probably give that money right now. You should probably just put your credit card right in there, right now.
Wait,
I feel like one day, like, indie developers are gonna like listen to this portion of the podcast and be like, "Hey, that's a nice thing to do. We're letting you help us develop this game." They're like, "No, stop making me do your fucking job. Develop your own damn game. I'm not gonna pay you
Wait.
$750."
so I'm kind of confused on this game. So it's like text based or
It like
It
it's a
seems
mix.
to be like it seems to be similar to playing Dungeons and Dragons, but in a game
yeah,
kind of a thing.
so you don't have to buy all the books for something.
yeah. You're buying the books. They're all in the computer.
Yeah, no,
They're
but
for
like
you.
yeah.
Yeah. No, it's basically like you're gonna go in there and a lot of it is text based because it's all like as if you're going through a map and you're clicking through the
Yeah.
map and you get different
Alright.
choices to go to. It looks like for battle there's like you get a picture of you and the enemy and you get different choices on what you can do. And there's probably gonna be like some basic animations of like, the characters kind of like bobbing around up and down. But for the most part, it's going to be limited animation, but more of like you go to this different room and it has either like a quest or some kind of puzzle or a battle.
And will it be like multiplayer in this? And I mean like
I
obviously
do not think so. Based on how this is set up, it looks like it's more of a single player, just run through it.
because I would rather want to play this with other people either in the room or online or something. Like a Dungeons and Dragons, and I see here that the son of the Dungeons and Dragons co-creator is actually connected to this game. So that's
I did not see that.
yeah. It says sentient play teaming up with usual suspects, game industry talent, and the unexpected, like Alex Gygax, son of Dungeons and Dragons co-creator Gary Gygax.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I actually hadn't seen that. Yeah, I definitely see where the confusion might have come from because it says like and ruthless competitors. So initially when I read that, I was like, wait, does that mean there's multiplayer? But yeah, it definitely seems like it's just a straight up like kind of text adventure based game, similar to like, did you play Pillars of Eternity?
I never got to play it, but I know plenty about it.
Yeah, there's like every now and then like with Pillars of Eternity, you have points in time where you get to make like basically just choices. It's not like it goes from being an isometric RPG to being like basically the pages of a book, and it's like, hey, literally like in the beginning, this storm is coming, and it's like, hey, what are you going to do? Are you going to like help this guy? Are you going to climb up this like tower and stuff? And based on the stats that your character has, it's, if you guys have ever played Dungeons and Dragons before, it's the exact same concept. But I think this actually looks really cool because in combat it has like different things. So normally games based on like standard role-playing games like Pillars of Eternity or Torment Tides of Numenera and stuff like that, they normally are just like, oh yeah, you shoot that guy kind of a thing. It goes pretty quickly, or it's turn-based combat. But in this, like how Josh described, it's very little animation, but you actually have like cool, you normally don't get like environmental stuff, and you actually in their battle you can interact with the environment, which I think is cool. So it's like environmental, you can climb or throw, attack you can swing or lunge, and defend you can parry or dodge. I think that's really cool because most games you don't get those choices. It's just something that the game does on its own. So that's really cool to me.
And just to confirm, halfway through in the text it does say in this single player role playing game. So confirmed.
See, I don't like that.
Once again, Errol shitting all over my games.
No, it's a good idea, but the lack of multiplayer, I think, is what just doesn't do it for me. I don't know why they would keep that out when that's a big part of like tabletop role playing games, which this is obviously based off of.
I mean, it isn't. Like, this reminds me a lot of, it has that D&D element, but it also reminds me of the old school text-based adventures.
Yeah,
and I
that's
think that's
true.
not environment, but the audience they're trying to cater to.
Okay.
And I definitely, this is definitely one of the kind of games that I would want to play where it's just, like, me chilling out and just, just alone listening to music and just kind of going through the dungeon, trying to figure out shit. I definitely think there's an audience for this, but it's not like if you're going into this thinking like, oh, it's D&D, like you're obviously going to be a little bit upset.
Just a little disappointed, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's about time we move on to kind of our last segment of the podcast. This is the indie games release schedule. This is where we basically thumb through all the indie games that are coming out in the week of recording. So this is between December 2nd and December 8th. These are all the games coming out. I separated the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita because not all games are actually cross-buy. So of course, I just put them separately. And this is also not a complete list. There are, of course, games that I will not have had on here. And some of these games definitely will. Most of these games will have come out by the time that you will listen to this podcast. But this will help you thumb through and find the indie games on the marketplaces and stuff like that. So for the first category, we're going over to multiple. In this game, oh my God, guys. It's Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is getting that sweet, sweet physical copy. This is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One Tuesday, December 4th.
Wait.
We've got...
Didn't it already get a physical copy, though? I thought it did.
No, we had reported on it, I think, when you were recently on the podcast. It was digital, and they announced a physical copy, but the physical copies are just now coming out. Yeah,
all right.
I'm definitely going to be picking up that guy. This next one actually also has a physical copy. Isn't that sweet, Josh? It's good. Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and the Nintendo Switch on Tuesday, December 4th.
Looks really good.
It does, yeah. If you're a fan of like the remaster, the remake
Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, right?
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a spiritual successor to it. We had actually, I think we talked about this getting delayed a little while ago, but it's finally out. I'm super excited about it. Of course, this is what Errol talked about earlier. We've got Override Mech City Brawl coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows PC on Tuesday.
It does have a physical copy, and I believe the physical copy you do get extra stuff like certain skins for each mech. And
oh shit, Errol!
Errol, you're gonna make this guy go broke. I didn't know I had a physical copy. God damn it. Literally, the first 4 titles actually get physical copies. I'm going to be spending some money, guys, because the next one is Subnautica coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on Tuesday, December 4th. Super Life of Pixel comes to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation Vita on Tuesday, December 4th. Energy Cycle Edge comes to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and Vita on Wednesday, December 4th. Now moving on to just the PlayStation Vita, we've got Emerald Shores coming to PlayStation Vita on Tuesday, December 4th. Now moving on to PS4, we've got Battle Princess Madeline coming to PS4 Tuesday, December 4th. Okay, so I will warn you guys, Battle Princess Madeline is probably the most annoying game ever when it comes to release dates. Yeah.
Because I looked it up before they had announced that it was coming out on the 6th, and it said the 20th. And then they're like, just kidding, it's coming out on the 6th. And literally, on the PlayStation 4, it comes out on the 4th. The Xbox One, it comes out on the 5th. And the PC, it comes out on the 6th. And I think it might, if it comes out on the Switch, yeah, it's on the 6th. So that's probably the most annoying thing that's on this list today. It just really bothered me. I don't know why. Actually, I do know why, because it's annoying. So next title is Betty Bat's Treasure Hunt, which, of course, is like what you talked about. It's shovelware, but technically it's an indie game, I guess, so whatever. It's coming to PlayStation 4 Tuesday, December 4th.
It does not look very good.
Yeah, it looks like huge butthole, but I guess it's got an easy platinum. So that's good, I guess. We've got Escape Game Aloha coming to PS4 Tuesday, December 4th. Oh my god.
Let me take a stab at this.
Yeah, you go for it. What do you think that game's name is?
Monica Ea Guarda dos Coelhos.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's what it is. It's coming to PlayStation 4 Tuesday, December 4th. We've got Prison Boss VR coming to PS4 Tuesday, December 4th. Astrology and Horoscope Premium coming to PS4.
That sounds like a good one.
I know, right? It's just like those palm reading premium ones that come out every now and then.
Oh,
You're like, yeah. You gotta wonder who's buying those. That one is coming to PS4
Geminis.
Tuesday.
I am a Gemini. It's okay. I can say that.
I'm a Virgo. Yeah. Nope. Okay. It's coming to PlayStation 4 Thursday, December 6th. Guns and Stories Bulletproof VR is coming to PlayStation 4 Friday, December 7th. Now moving down to Xbox One. Battle Princess Madeline is coming to Xbox One Wednesday, December 5th. We've got On a Roll 3D is coming to Xbox One Friday, December 7th. Now moving on to a gargantuan list of Switch games. No, just kidding. There's actually not that many. We've got Demetrius, The Big Cynical Adventure comes to Switch Monday, December 3rd. Battle Princess Madeline comes to Switch Thursday, December 6th. Beholder Complete Edition comes to Switch Thursday, December 6th. Color Zen, yeah, that's the name, is coming to Nintendo Switch Thursday, December 6th. Conduct Together is coming to Switch Thursday, December 6th. Long Story, a dating game for the real world. Okay, is coming to Switch Thursday, December 6th.
There is one more for Switch. What's that name? It's an indie. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's this fighting game. It's coming out on Friday. I forgot the name.
Switch
Ultra Switch Fighter.
I think you got it. Yeah, it's
Ultimate?
Ultra Switch Fighter. Definitely doesn't have Kirby in it, or you know who it also
Mario.
doesn't have in it? The Grinch. So
It definitely doesn't have the
Yeah.
Grinch in it.
Oh, man.
okay, just a real tangent since we're in the middle of this, and because naturally I need to go on a tangent. It really annoys me how many people thought the Grinch theory had something to do with the Grinch being in Smash. I'm like,
I did think that originally.
punch yourself
yeah.
in the dick. Really? No, yeah. It was like this whole elaborate plan about the marketing team also working on the Grinch movie's marketing. And then everybody's like, Tim Geddes thinks the Grinch is going to be in the Nintendo's in the new Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I'm like,
That's not what
just
he said.
punch yourself, please. Yeah, right? It's like, just listen to the
That being
5
said,
hours he talks about.
if the Grinch was in Smash, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah, he and Max. He just like throws Max at people. He doesn't even do anything himself.
He's like
It'd be like
Pokemon, trainer, but
trainer.
Max is the fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to the Windows PC release games. We've got Above the Fold comes to Windows PC Monday, December 3rd. Gertie comes to PC Monday, December 3rd. War of Rights, which is a Civil War game. Apparently it's getting good reviews. I don't know why I decided to say that. It's coming to PC Monday, December 3rd. Whimsical Quest is coming to PC Monday, December 3rd. Aeon of Sands, The Trial is coming to PC. Fuck. Damn it. It is The Trail. It's coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. I hate this so much. Block Pooper 9. The fact that this, I really hope that this is one of those like, oh, you take 3 pigs and you like, or 2 pigs and you put 1 and 3 on it, so everybody's looking for the second one. I really hope there's not 9 of these fucking.
Yeah,
games.
there's no way
other.
there's
Yeah, I just
more of
went
these.
to try to look, and there's no other block pooper. They just started with
Good.
9. unless I can't find
They're
it.
really
but-
deciding to fuck with people. Either that, or it's on those weird sites like you were talking about, on like battle or what is it, Playgrounds. All 8 of them are on Playgrounds, and then there's one on Steam. That is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Roguelite, which is generally a genre, but this time it's a game apparently, is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Terminal Conflict is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Beholder 2 is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Grapple Force Reina is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Override Mech City Brawl is coming to PC Tuesday, December 4th. Desert Kill is coming to PC Wednesday, December 5th. Edge of Eternity is coming to PC Wednesday, December 5th. Gizmo is coming to PC Wednesday, December 5th. I'm going to say Mucinex, but I do not think that's actually what that is.
Mucinx, like music and sync.
So Mucinex is coming to PC Wednesday, December 5th. Twinfold.
Mucinex.
Twinfold is coming to PC Wednesday, December 5th. Battle Princess Madeline is coming to PC Thursday, December 6th. Bryquid. Yeah? You cool with that? You think it's Bryquid?
Brickwood?
Okay, let's go with
Brickwood, like liquid.
Liquid. Yeah, like liquid, but with Breh.
But with a Brita filter. Is coming to PC Thursday, December 6th. Moonbase is coming to PC Friday,
Is
December
that a
7th.
game about cats in space on the moon?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's about cats in space.
Wow. Okay.
Why are there so many cat games? Like last week we talked about Cattails,
Oh,
the
yeah.
cat RPG.
People love cats.
That's so
How it
true.
is.
We've got Darwin's Test coming to PC Friday, December 7th. Guilds of Delinar is coming to PC Friday, December 7th. Just kidding. Yeah, it's the 7th. Iris.Fall.
I think it says
coming
Iris
to-
Fall. It just has
See,
a
I would normally
dot
think so,
there.
but there's .hack, and it's...
Oh, that's... Yeah, but... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you also don't say scamp :
No, it's
high hat have it. Fuck.
it's definitely Iris.Fall.
Suck it, Errol. Is coming to PC Friday, December 7th. Scamp Hi-Hat Havoc is coming to PC Friday, December 7th. Stickman World is coming to PC Friday, December 7th. And the last game on the list, now that I'm completely out of breath.
I have something after that, though. For mobile.
Okie dokie, sounds good. Oh, you do? That's awesome. Hunter's Trial, The Fight Never Ends is coming to Windows PC Saturday, December 8th. So what you got for mobile here?
So
Mobile?
last
Fuck.
time I was on, I talked about a little game called Kaiju Big Battle Phyto Fantasy. So that
Yeah, the
is
game
now
looks awesome.
available on Android, not through Google Play at the moment for some reason, but through the Amazon App Store. So if you
That's
like,
kind of interesting.
if you like kaiju and like Super Nintendo style RPGs and lighthearted humor and mobile games, try it out.
I mean, you had to throw in mobile games, so I think most people are going to find that a hard bracket to go into, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll stay away.
So traditionally, oh yeah, we got to pick out our games. So what games would you guys be likely to just give a shout out to or anything like that? Obviously, Errol has already played Override Mech City Brawl, but what games do you guys pick out here, huh?
Errol's a big fan of Block Pooper as well, I hear.
Yeah,
Well,
Block
Monster
Pooper
Boy,
9, he's been
I
a huge
said.
fan of the series.
I said Monster Boy earlier.
Yeah, me too.
I've been trying to follow this game, and I haven't. I want to pick it up when I can, because I think it's been reviewing well. I haven't heard anything bad about it.
The interesting thing about Monster Boy, as opposed to Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, is in Wonder Boy and the Dragon's Trap, you are turned into different creatures because you're cursed. And and like you basically get to new bosses, you beat them, and then you get turned into a different new creature, and you have to backtrack to get into new areas. So first you start out as Wonder Boy, then you go to Lizard Man, then you go to the Mouse Man, and then you just kind of switch. But it seems like in Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom, you can actually switch on the fly. So there's like a snake, a pig, a lion, and stuff like that. I think that's so cool. And something I do have to say about Monster Boy, now that I'm gushing, it has one of the coolest animated trailers I've seen in a long time.
It reminded me of like the lyrics, at least the song that was in it. It reminded me of like a 4Kids dub, like a song.
Yeah. It reminds me a lot of the like 4Kids anime. It reminds me of like Sonic X.
Sonic X or like the Shaman King or something. Like the
Shaman King is some good shit.
The openings.
Dude. I love Shaman King so much. Yeah, no, that's totally right. Yeah. And of course, you guys already know I'm out for the Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice Monster Boy. Now that I know that Override is physical, definitely gonna have to do that too. And Subnautica, obviously. Nobody did.
Of course.
What game are you thinking about that you want to give a quick shout out to, Josh?
So mine, actually, I was looking over the list. I think Super Life of Pixel is definitely my choice. It looks really interesting. It's a very basic like platformer style game of you being a little cube and you're like jumping around. But the nice thing that they do is it's like a homage to just a ton of older games. So there's like 100 levels, and as you're playing in the little cube, it like changes, and you can see there's like little call outs to all the games from like, you know, back in the 80s all the way up to more recent ones. And you could tell like there's like a minecart that is very, very similar to the minecart level in Mega Man X. And then there's ones that look very similar to like a Castlevania style. So it looks like it goes through like very older games, Game Boy games, to more recent, you know, PS1 games. So it looks really cool. It reminds me a lot of I can't remember the name of it right now, but there was a game back in the day that they did. It was kind of like an adventure RPG where as you played the game, it progressed through the different era of video games. So you would like start off with 8-bit, go to 16-bit, and like it would keep increasing. So it has that same appeal. I don't remember the name of the game.
That sounds familiar. I don't know the name, but I've heard of that before.
Yeah, it's something like some evolution game or something like that.
Yeah, the thing I find coolest about the Life of Pixel, how you're talking about how it goes through, like it pays homage to different like games itself. I think it's really cool that you actually get to choose what console you're on. So it's like, I mean, not console you're on like literally, I'm not playing it on PS4, but it's like, oh, the Game Boy Color, the Commodore 64, the NES, the SNES. I think that's so cool. I've never really seen that in a game before. And it also kind of like, it teaches you what game system it's from, kind of a thing. Like you actually, I don't know, it might be a way to grow to love a game system that you didn't care about before.
Right.
Kind of a thing. And you actually know what system this game, like, that it's riffing off of is from, because it's like, oh yeah, you go to the NES and you go into an NES world and you play an NES game. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and so the game I was thinking about it's called Evo Land. And it's a really good game to check out, just for the whole concept of a game evolving with you as you progress through the story. So you go from a 2D game all the way to a 3D game, and it goes through each era of the different bit style. It's a really cool game, and it also pays, you know, homage to other games before it. Like you go through basically a Zelda ripoff, a Final Fantasy ripoff, so to speak, and it's very interesting. So that's why I would pick this Super Life of Pixel, is just because it does that same concept of playing off of the different styles of genres that are out there.
I actually have Evoland in my Steam wishlist. No big deal. I didn't buy it, but I have it there.
Because it doesn't have a physical.
Yeah, that's true, and it's not on consoles yet, so let's get on it. At least I don't think it is.
I don't
So,
think so.
Yeah, I don't think it is. So now we're gonna move on to our last little bit of the podcast. So normally I would ask you guys if you thought this was a banger or not, but instead of doing that, I'm actually gonna ask you guys a question, so our audience gets to know a little bit more about us, and of course I'm gonna tell you guys my answer as well to give you a little bit of time to come up with it. So last week I asked what people's like weirdest fears were. This week, I'm going to ask you guys what your guys' favorite movie genre is. So mine specifically, and it's kind of weird, I guess. And you can get as specific about this as you want, I guess, if you really want to. But I like romance movies. I'm a really big fan of romance. Even though, if you ask my girlfriend, yeah, I'm really not a romantic person. I'm just not at all.
You just watch the thing.
You're
just like, why can't I be like that? And your girlfriend's like, you should. And you're just like, nah.
That's too much work.
That's my life. Yeah. There's one of my favorite movies is About Time with Domhnall Gleeson, and it's about how like the men in his family have the ability to travel back in time, and he uses it to like fall in love. It's a really good movie. Like Rachel McAdams is in it, and so is Margot Robbie for a little bit. It's a great movie. I'd recommend watching it. There's also like What If is a really good movie. It's got Daniel Radcliffe in it. I didn't actually know how much I liked Daniel Radcliffe as an actor until he made more movies than just Harry Potter, and I really started to like him. I do like the Harry Potter movies.
Have you seen like Horns? I liked that movie he was in.
Yeah, I've seen Horns. It's really interesting. The marketing for it was a little weird. I thought it was going to be a little bit different than it was, but yeah.
Apparently the book is like, there's like way more stuff in it. Because obviously.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like
the movie seems a little rushed. So, yeah, right? So what would you guys say is your favorite movie genre? And then if you want to, you can elaborate with a movie in that genre that you really like.
Okay, I guess I'll go. Mine's gonna be kind of a cop-out. I don't really watch movies much. I'm not really much of a movie person, so to speak. I guess just comedy.
I like Die Hard.
I just like general comedies. Usually when I'm like watching stuff, it's just for like the comedic like purpose of turning my brain off and just.
So you're a big fan of Daddy's Home? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, man.
No, Daddy's Home too, actually.
It's good.
Guys,
No, I don't know. That and like really like weird trippy movies like what's that one? I can't remember. It's like Becoming. Jeez, I can't remember the name of it. But just like really strange movies.
Becoming John Malkovich?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes,
Becoming John Malkovich.
Something
like that.
Yeah.
How did you pull that out of thin air?
I've never even seen Becoming. That. I've just heard the movie.
Oh, man.
Like I've seen the title before.
I would recommend it. It's so strange. It literally is just becoming John Malkovich. That's what it's about. Just
interesting.
Just watch it. It's like this in the ground that people find, and they like go in there, and then they're able to become John Malkovich for like a limited amount of time, and then after it's done, they like fall from the sky, and then you have to go back there. Like I don't know, it's so strange.
Definitely, my favorite movie has to be Rubber.
Oh gosh,
seen it?
Yeah. What a bad movie.
Oh my god, I remember watching that in college, and we were like, "What is this? Why?"
It's so awesome.
Yeah,
it's a horror movie where the antagonist is a fucking tire.
A tire with psychic powers.
Where it just like jiggles and things just start blowing up. I was like, what is happening?
It's so awesome. What's your favorite movie genre,
Errol? See, is that really a genre? I don't know if that's a genre.
See, that's why I said that you could get as specific as you wanted. So like, if you said big robots fighting mutants, I'd be like, all right.
Yeah, that well, it would be called tokusatsu, and that would be it would be in sci-fi. Well, because it would count, it would count Pacific Rim, Godzilla, other stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I prefer like animated movies though. And of course, a Pacific Rim anime is coming to Netflix soon, so I'm excited for that. And also, Evangelion coming to Netflix, and I've never seen it.
Yeah, me neither. I'm so excited to watch it. E-Face was like losing his shit over it. Apparently, he really likes it.
Yeah,
so that's cool.
Yeah, Jason was telling me like, are you serious? You've never seen it? And I was like, I saw it in like the first episode. But yeah, usually I'm into mostly sci-fi or like animated. I really do like animated movies, although recently I'm kind of more into anime than Western animation because a lot of Western animations is more of that CG.
The weird ass like 3D stuff.
Not the hand drawn style, except for I gotta say, Into the Spider-Verse looks dope.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like how they like put out the second season of Berserk, and it's that weird ass like 3D animation style.
No, that's not even. Because here's the thing about Berserk. Oh, don't even get me started with the. Oh God. So that new series is terrible, but the movies they did before, which was like this weird blend of CG and like traditional animation
and hand drawn animation. Yeah, the egg of the king and stuff like that.
It looked so much. It looked cool, and then they crapped out the new series, and oh jeez.
So I will say something. This is just a weird tangent at the end of the podcast. Have you watched Goblin Slayer? Have either of you guys?
I've heard about it.
It's a really fucked up anime. You should definitely.
No, I've been watching Gridman because giant kaiju fighting stuff.
Yeah, Gridman looks really interesting as well. But since we're talking about the weird like 3D stuff, in Goblin Slayer, the only person who's ever displayed in 3D in that weird way is Goblin Slayer at times when he moves or in combat. Every other time, he's hand-drawn and all the other characters are. It's fucking weird, and it really bothers me.
I'll tell you what bothers you guys. See the Dragon Ball Super Broly trailer where like it's CG for that one part and it looks weird.
Nope.
You guys know what I'm talking about?
No, I'm not a big DBZ fan, but that's...
It's not DBZ, right. It's Dragon Ball Super now.
Well, thank you guys for the answers to that. I'm glad that our
Wait, hold on. Can I answer last week's question too?
Yeah.
I think
what's your weirdest fear?
Bette Midler from Hocus Pocus.
What the fuck?
Right. So, have you seen Hocus Pocus? Fear?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the red-haired witch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks creepy.
That.
You're like, I'm scared of gingers in general, but the few that have supernatural powers is just really
it's not like something I'm afraid of now. It's just like more of a joke thing because when I was a kid, she did scare me. Like her role in that scared me.
Yeah, it makes sense. She looks really creepy. Gollum used to scare the shit out of me. No joke. Like I would hide my face, and now yeah, I don't know why. It just scared the crap out of me. And the movie Signs, for some reason, scared me.
Oh, when I was little, I was scared of any movie trailer, scary movie trailer that came on TV. And I watched The Simpsons every night when I was younger, so I would like change the channel for a second.
Interesting. Well, that's about it for episode 9 of the Indian Incursion Podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you guys got this far, please leave us a like if you're watching this or listening to this where you can. Leave us a review, or you can reach out to us on Twitter and such. I am at Hyde Legion. I think Errol is at Errol M, correct?
That's me.
And Josh, what is yours? Because I forget.
It's the
yeah, yours is weird.
Yeah, _Jorsh 90.
It's the 90 that gets me. I'm pretty sure I always get the Jorce, but I'm like, is it 69? I think it is.
42069.
420 blaze it, Jorsh.
Of course, yeah, you guys could reach out to us on Twitter if you guys would like to talk to us outside of the show. Otherwise, yeah, just check us out on Parallax.
We also have
a bunch of different stuff.
Since the Game Awards and the Kind of Funny Game Showcase are coming up, we may have some kind of Reacts podcast for that later.
That's very true. Yeah, I totally forgot about saying anything about that.
That's why I did.
Errol's on
it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Listening. Fuck. Whatever you're doing.